Are we recording?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, I can see it now. Okay, you want to kick us off?
Yes, I was about to start.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Are you on the correct microphone?
I will double check. Yeah, it says it's on the Elgato Wave. Is it bad?
That's actually okay. Like when you were laughing it, there was some echo, so I wasn't quite sure. But
Well, the
yeah,
thing is, I laugh
I'm not. I'm not
very
that
loudly.
funny, so it's not like.
But I won't be like typing because I just but I need to get my because I think it picks up the keys pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, let's get started. Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each episode gives us crap. That has not happened in quite a while.
Gives us a dishonest view.
Let's start again. Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each episode gives you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict and I'm feeling calm.
And I'm Benedicta. Today is September 16th. This is episode number 229, and I'm feeling productive.
Nice. That's a good feeling. What are you working on?
Well, I'm coding, and I think that's why I feel so productive, even though
Ooh.
maybe there are other things I should be doing as well, like documenting and things like that. But I've been working on the Framer overrides for Outsera. So in Framer, you can have these override files, which are basically higher order React components. And the ones we had now, it's all just coded inside of the like Framer editor. This,
Mhm.
and then you can like copy paste all of that code into your own editor, Framer editor. And I wanted it to be so that you can import kind of the core functionality from a hosted module or package
Mhm.
instead. So that's what I've been working on. So I've been testing out like writing them locally because this is not like you would distribute with npm, because in Framer you have to have a URL. So you import from a URL and you can have these ESM, I guess, modules
Mhm.
hosted on the URL, and then you can import them from there. So like I had a hard time figuring out how to test this because to get it hosted somewhere I kind of had to release a version or something like that. But then I found ngrok. This is news to me, maybe
Yes.
not news to the people out there, but it's magical. I even paid for it because
Nice.
um, I think you had to like say, yes, I want to go into this page if you were on the free version. And obviously that didn't work when I was importing it from Framer. Like they couldn't bypass um, that kind of little check. So, but it might have been that I just did something wrong, but it was so cheap. I was like, I pay. Like I just wanted to
Yeah.
get further. So I might have broken Framer today because I was like end grokking and doing my thing, and suddenly Framer it's not loading. And I was like, uh-oh, because sometimes, if I pull down my ngrok my ngrok tunnel or
Mhm.
whatever, it stops being available. So often like my projects have been getting errors because I have these URLs in there that aren't resolving for anything, but suddenly like the whole editor was starting to didn't want to load, like it was giving errors. I was like, oh, uh-oh. And then I checked Framer status, and they're having issues right when I was like doing most of my shenanigans. But I've been doing it for like 2 weeks now, on and off. So I don't think I'm the one that broke it, but sometimes you feel like you're doing some shady stuff, not shady, but like weird stuff, and the whole thing went down. But I think it's
Yeah.
more because they're having a major launch today, and tonight I think they're having one of their like launch things, so they're probably like deploying something that they should have deployed last week if the launch is today.
Yeah, sounds like it. Or they just like did the last load test and discovered that it's maybe not quite ready for prime time. Sounds like
Yes,
not a pleasant situation to be in. To yeah,
but I find
have
but
this
I
right before the
find that
launch.
yeah, I don't envy the people sitting in Amsterdam
Mm-mm.
right now trying to fix this. Um, what I was going to say is that it's been a lot of fun building it and like thinking about the developer experience, and it's so much harder than you know. I guess we know, but it also feels like one of those things that shouldn't be so hard, but it's so hard. Like, what is the trade-off between being extendable but not making it hard for beginners, or like putting in the gates so
Yeah,
people don't do crazy stuff? And what if they like imported like 5 times? I don't want my auth store to be initialized a million times in case they use it like inappropriately or like in a way that they
right.
shouldn't.
Yeah,
And then it's the age of AI, where I know they're going to be asking, a lot of these framework developers are going to be, maybe just copy pasting one of my examples and then putting that into some AI and being like, okay, give me, and then some functionality. And like, how can I make sure that it works, but it doesn't break their thing? So I've been like going around in circles, like thinking, chatting with the AI, implementing, using it, and being like, no, this does not feel good, and kind of like moving around and around. I think I've landed on something good, and I have a guy that really, really wants it that I'm going to do a call with when it's done. So yeah, I'm going to launch that this week. Or like get out of
nice.
like beta alpha, get out of alpha, or get up to like a
Get
version number
it
that
off of
people can
Ngrok.
trust. Get it off of Ngrok, yes.
Yeah, well, it sounds super productive. I literally have no idea about any of this. I think I have never even logged into Framer, but sounds like exciting work. And yeah, I agree on the developer experience being a hard thing because yeah, it's such a fine line between being too flexible and then allowing people to do really bad stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and people still surprise you even after years with like creative ways they figure out how to use your thing.
And
To this
since
day, I'm adding constraints to the userless API because someone figured out yet another way to do a crazy thing.
yeah, it's that like if it's not documented, is it a feature? Or can
Yeah,
you like pull it out from under them if it wasn't documented? But because I think that's going to be more prevalent now with AI. Like the AI can read library code and like figure out how to do things that are not documented. And if it's
well,
not
humans can do that
documented,
as well.
they can, but like I think it's at least, well, then you kind of know, right, that you've been messing with somebody's intended way of using something. But if you just ask the AI and you don't really know if this was a documented thing or not, or if it was like an intended feature or not,
Right.
because it reads the code. But I also wanted, because Framer is a React application under the hood, so it's reactive. So I've been working on creating a reactive kind of auth store so that if if you toggle a button, it will update everywhere on the page in the way that we're used to with React. So now you can click click on the toggle button, and it will only save like the last state
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Fun.
So it's very satisfying when you click and you can see the other thing like turning on and off, on and off, on and off. I'm like sitting there like that would be my demo.
Yeah, reactivity is one of those things that feel amazing the first time you do them, and eventually you realize it's also not the solution to everything. And I feel like these days I'm trying to prevent reactivity as often as I in the past used to get things reactive. So
But you
it's
can't
like,
you can't offer something to React users that don't react. I mean, you
Yes,
can. That's what we're doing
I get
today,
it. I get
but
it.
it feels very weird for them to, subscribe to events on the outside of object inside of a use effect. Like that's a React developer like coming of age now. That is not how they think, right? So,
Right.
and since Framer is like one of our growing customer bases, like I thought it would be good to actually take a stab at making. So that part isn't official. Like the React store or the reactive store will not be public yet. Only the Framer overrides, but the Framer overrides will use the React like auth store under the hood so that I can battle test that a little bit. And then my thought is to offer that as well as a module. So if you have your own React application, or even if you're in Webflow and you want to like listen to the user state and update like 5 things, you can do that because it has like a vanilla version. But I'm not going to
Right.
offer because I know, so I'm not going to offer that. Like I'm just going to offer the like the Framer specific one. Then maybe we make some Webflow utility things, and you will only be able to use those. But then down the line, I hope to create a proper like store that especially can be used in like Next or React or things like that, where people are struggling to kind of wrap their head around our way of thinking, or not our, but the guys who made Alcera originally's way of thinking, which is very server rendered, kind of in all of the ways our
Right.
packages work or like our SDK work. So, but anyway, it's been fun like coding up a storm, and I've been like having like 4-hour blocks, which is like coding. So that's been good.
Yeah, that's yeah. I love when you get into the zone and then suddenly you realize, oh, it's 4 hours already, but I get so much done. I made so much progress. Yeah, that's nice.
Exactly. Do you have any updates before I continue on to my next one?
Yeah, we same like Framer's launching today. We did our launch last week on Tuesday. So we made our timeline. We published the new website, the new branding, the new logo, the new app design, everything Tuesday morning. And there weren't any major issues. There was some tweaking here and there, and I think even earlier today we were pushing fixes, and there's still small styling problems here and there, but it's so rare that like you have to really, really dig deep to find them. So that's good.
And you'll be fixing
overall,
pixel things for the rest of your life.
yes, but I guess that has always been true, right? Like that's not necessarily just a result of the redesign. But I'm so happy it's done, but I'm also super proud of how it turned out. It's just like a lot cleaner than before. It's a lot tighter, it's a lot nicer, looks more modern. And in the last couple of days before the launch, Leo also merged an update to our data library. So we migrated from Ember Data to Warp Drive, which is basically the same thing, but like new and shiny and better. And it's like the difference is amazing. Like at some point, I was browsing the production application thinking that I'm on localhost because stuff was just loading so fast. I was like, this cannot be the production version. And I was clicking around and stuff instantly showing up with no loading states and stuff like that. I was like, this can't be right, and check the URL. Oh, actually, it is the right thing. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I am super stoked how it turned out.
So you're saying the
And
web is moving forward, like our tools are
the
improving?
the tools are improving, and it is amazing. I mean, TLDR is basically there's a caching layer in the data library now, and it's caching by URL. So if you did a request in the past, I don't know, 20 minutes, it will just do the request from the cache and not actually hit the server, and as a result, you don't get loading screens. I'm actually not quite sure what the timing is, but like it reduces the amount of requests that are actually going to the server by a lot, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm stoked. we did get a lot of positive feedback. There were only like one or two people that were blaming some issues on the redesign, which in the end did not turn out to be issues with the redesign, but like fundamental issues or issues even with their own integrations. But most people liked the redesign. We even had one case where they wrote in with a question and they were like, yeah, yesterday I spent all day trying to get familiar with everything and learned everything, and this morning I log in and it looks completely different. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
But they were like, yeah, but I guess it's still similar enough that I can quickly adapt, and the new design is better and nicer. And so I was
I
happy
guess the
that
data model is the same. Like you're making the same type of emails, you're making the same type of automatizations, your
and
triggers, and
even
you're up.
for like 90% of the stuff, even the information architecture didn't change. I think we only moved one thing in the navigation. Well, navigation changed a little bit more, but like the overall information architecture, like where stuff is nested and stuff like that, that did not change at all, except for segments. We pulled those to the top because they were super hidden before. But like if you knew where things were before, they are still at the same place, so you can easily find them. So yeah, pretty happy with how all of it turned out. We had a nice launch sequence planned with, like, I think we sent the first email announcing everything on Friday, and then we had the fun story of how the CTO redesigned the logo on Monday, and then Tuesday we announced it.
You didn't tell it, like that was a complete surprise. You designed the logo. Tell us more about that.
Well, yeah, we were. The story of the original logo was super boring, and I think the logo we had before turned out to be just an icon from the WordPress theme that Jane had used for the landing page, like before we even had the product, before anything, basically for the validation. She just picked a random icon, and that turned into our logo for 7 years or so. And we wanted to redo that.
I don't even remember how it looked. Like
it looked super generic. Just like it looked like 3 layers stacked on top of each other. Like,
oh yes. Okay,
yeah.
yes.
I think it looks similar to, what is it, Databricks or whatever. Like there's a couple similar logos out there. But we knew we wanted to redo this as well, and then it took some back and forth. Jane came up with a bunch of ideas, some cute ones, some weird ones, but I didn't really like all of them. And she was super excited about a dandelion as a logo, but I felt like that's too flimsy and like too delicate to work, especially on, like, that was also a problem with the old logo, by the way, because the lines were so thin. When it was on a page with a lot of other logos, it was always almost like disappear, like it was barely visible. So we knew we wanted something a little bit bolder, a little bit more, like with a little bit more presence. And we always like geometric shapes, like for example the Mercury logo or even the ChatGPT logo. So at some point, when Jane's logo explorations didn't go anywhere that I was excited about, I just started playing around in Sketch, just playing around with shapes. And because it's userless, I played around with hues and outlines, and eventually came up with the thing that it is today. And then we tweaked it a little bit and flipped it and turned it, and bigger, smaller, thicker lines, thinner lines, until we eventually came up with this one. And there's still some small changes I probably would have made if it was just my call, but for the most part, I think we're both happy with the logo. And yeah, it turned out into a funny story that resonated with a lot of people when you send out that email. It's just so unlikely.
Since Jane kind of is good at design. Like you could have had a marketing co-founder that doesn't do design, but is really good at like marketing But you have
there's some irony in this, where the Jane is a designer by trade, did vector illustrations in the past, and all of this, and in the end, I'm the one coming up with the logo that we end up choosing. It's a little bit ironic, and I'm not good at that stuff. Like, I feel like I come up with a good logo every 15 years or so.
When it's needed.
It was about time. Anyway, so yeah, that went pretty well. And then we initially wanted to do our Product Hunt launch on Wednesday, but on Wednesday we realized that apparently Product Hunt only allows you to schedule launches in the future. So we were setting everything up, and then it was like, yeah, okay, pick a date. And today, like Wednesday, wasn't available anymore, so we had to postpone it to Thursday. But well, in the end, it was fine.
That happened to me once too, where you were allowed to schedule that day, but then they just pulled it down and then they put it up again, like midnight US time on the next day. So I think
now it wasn't even an option. Like we could the earliest we could launch was Thursday, so that's what we did.
Because I think they realized like people need the same amount of time, I guess, since it's a US 24 hours.
It kind of makes sense, but it feels like every time we launch something on Product Hunt, because we don't do it that often, everything changed. Like,
yeah.
You're starting from scratch every single time. So all the assumptions from last time didn't work. But what's still working is being present in the comments, sharing the link with the mailing list, not asking for upvotes, but asking for like people to join the conversation and stuff like that. And as a result, I think we got to number 5 of the day, which is
pretty good.
Actually quite okay. Like, I'm not complaining about that.
I voted.
I think it was enough to get into the. Oh, thank you. I think it was enough to get into the newsletter that they sent out the day after. So, yeah, all good. Got a lot of. What was interesting this time, we got a lot of comments from people actually asking stuff about the product, like, can I do this? Can I do that? Oh, that's interesting. How is it different from whatever? And we were able to answer all of them, and even provide some examples of like, yeah, you can do this. Look, it looks like this. And that was pretty nice.
So it was worth it, because last time we talked about, is it worth it to go on Product Hunt?
It probably, the verdict is still out, I guess. We did not get a lot of immediate signups. I think we got like 3 or 4. But at least one of them, I know for sure that they didn't even know about the launch. So I'm not sure if it's like that big of a splash, but it wasn't a wasted effort. Like, not a huge success, I guess, in terms of like revenue, but if we hadn't done it, people would have not seen it. So I think I'd just rather do it again and have people at least see it and come across it, even if it's just once, I guess. Well, yeah, that's it. That was the last couple of days with launching, and then basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which is super exhausted. Like, had no energy whatsoever for anything. But I guess, pent up anxiety from the launch. And the week before, we were visiting my sister and her family and seeing my nieces, so it wasn't exactly a relaxing weekend either. So I feel like after the launch, I was just like, done with everything for a couple of days, and deliberately made the choice to do nothing this weekend. And
lovely.
now we're back.
We also did very little this weekend, actually. It's very nice.
Sometimes you have to just like, not do a lot and just like, enjoy doing nothing for a while. But we're back working on stuff, still polishing a little bit here and there, still doing a little bit of cleanup. Today I removed the last remaining, I think it were 2 SCSS variables that we were still using in our front-end code base that hadn't been replaced by custom properties. But I removed those as well, and now later today we'll probably remove the last two remaining uses of inline SVGs in the CSS as well. And then I guess we're done with the cleanup for this major push at least.
Nice. So Ula's been hard working on Omway, which is our working title. So he's been working with Statamic, and so kind of like the back end. And our goal is to have an MVP.
Wait a second, Statamic. That was a CMS built on. Is it Laravel or is it something else?
I think it's on PHP, but a lot of Laravel people are using it. Like it does integrate with Laravel seamlessly.
Okay.
But I think you can use it without Laravel. Yeah, we needed to choose like a full, more like of a full stack kind of a thing. And Ula is really taken to it. Like he, I think that way of thinking is working better for him than the React stuff. And so he's been working with Statamic to like set up the backend where you can upload a stop with an audio file and the title, and then also being able to listen to them. But my job before Istanbul or microconfs, our goal, you have to make these arbitrary goals, right? You had the product hunt. We are going to have an MVP ready by microconf where you can listen to a full tour and you can upload new tours, but it's kind of on a super user level. Like we're not creating tenants and that kind of things and people being able to sign up. But then we can have something to show around. So I've been working on the back end. So my job before microconf is to make it pretty for the listener. So we have some older and we have some old prototypes. I'm just going to try and make it similar to that, so I don't start off on like a major project where I just need to. It's like good enough. Good is better than done. Isn't that word? Or what is the saying?
Better than imperfect.
Better done than perfect. That's a better saying. And we've been chatting a lot about it and like talking about serving museums and that part. Like we haven't been super engaged, but when we were talking about like, okay, we went to Istanbul now, like I would want to check Omway to see, is there a tour that I could take when I'm there? Like, is there something I could take that would take me to like hidden parts or that kind of thing? So we're much more enthusiastic, or at least I am, with the thought of being, able to provide guides or other creators to make these and kind of sell these in some way, or like make money off of their tours, because there are and also at least I know some guides, and there's quite like an interest in guiding. But sometimes you're on your own and maybe you don't want to be with a group, or you're arriving in city late, or you can't show up for some kind of guided tour. And I'm thinking the people that do these types of tours also might like to be able to serve people kind of on demand
24/7
24/7, like a 7-Eleven. And no, that's just 7 to 11 in Norway. They're open 24 hours. Anyways, that was a total not part of this chat. Anyway, so that is kind of like what we're working towards now. Like it would be super interesting if we could kind of get the guides, but also I'm thinking, the influencer segment. Like if you are some sort of influencer and you come, if you come to some influencer city, you want their guide to the city and like their voice in your ears. So that's where we're at, like vision wise. Like if we're thinking really big, I want it to be that you come to city, you're always like, let me find an Omway for this city.
Interesting. However, I think you should probably still start with like museums and stuff like that, because unless you get really big, I think there will be very, very few people thinking, is there an Omway?
I know. But I'm like trying to let myself or allow myself to think bigger. And then of course we would need to start with some entity that just want their kind of audio tours on a URL. because you can't start with like an open marketplace with like two things. That
Yeah,
doesn't work.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's but I kind of want to get towards that because I don't want to
Mhm.
just talk to. Well, we could find some really cool museums, but there are a lot of boring museums too,
Right.
where they just kind of just want to like provide their standard information and not like create an actual listenable experience.
Right.
But tomorrow we're having a meeting with some of the people that we actually hosted the tour for and have been hosting for, when did I say last time? Since 2016. So I'm talking to that agency tomorrow. I had AI translate. They are an agency that delivers creation, production, and communication of art in public spaces.
Sounds like a good fit for that use case, like for that product.
Yes. So that was the update on that. And I'm really looking forward to MicroConf. And Ula and I are even doing a little vacation. So we're going to be there a full week.
Oh, nice. Are you arriving early or are you staying longer? What's your plan?
We're arriving early. So Wednesday, because there were the direct flights from Oslo were only Wednesdays and Sundays. So we're coming Wednesday and leaving Wednesday.
Nice. Cool. I will be arriving Saturday lunchtime, Saturday, something like that. Leaving here super
Cool.
early on Saturday, and we'll be leaving on, I think, Wednesday afternoons or something like that. So yeah, we can hang out.
We can hang out.
And if you're dear listener, if you're at MicroConf, please say hi. We'd love to meet you.
You will probably hear my laughter way before you see me.
Follow the laughter.
I had a friend come from 2 roads, like from where I was sitting to like what's it called? Quarters? Like I cannot speak English today. Anywho, he came like from 2 streets over because he heard me laugh. And we used to live together at the student house. And I saw him like come towards the bench that I was sitting at with my friend. And he was like, I knew it was you.
Okay, cool. Well, if in case I get lost in Istanbul, I just follow the laughter.
Do that. Okay. Until next
Cool.
time.
Yeah. Well, maybe not in 2 weeks because we will be busy listening to talks at MicroConf.
We
But
will.
either we record something on site, but that never happens. Or yeah, we'll figure something out. But yeah, see you in a couple of weeks.
And whoever we aren't seeing on MicroConf, see you around the interwebs.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.